if you want to see it, go watch yourselves. This isn't audio porn.
Where do the quiet gays? Where are the quiet gays supposed to go?
I should probably check how old this is before I drink this. This has been in my
Ew.
fridge for an unknown amount of time. Oh my god. This this expired so long ago.
Is it kombucha?
Yeah.
What's the date? And I just saw you take a swig of that.
Yeah, over a year ago. It still tastes fine.
Ew.
Am I gonna die?
No, you'll just have a tummy ache.
I mean, it's kombucha, which is why I'm worried about it being expired.
Wouldn't it just like ferment more? I say don't drink it.
Dang it.
Yeah. As a now CNA, I say
Yeah.
don't drink it.
Because this girl has some big news.
I passed my test.
Woohoo!
It was so nerve-wracking. You have to do 5 skills. So you have to do 1 measurement. So that's like blood pressure, pulse, respirations, weight, something like that. I got respirations. And it was so funny because like the normal range is like 12 to 20. And the girl I was doing it on was like breathing so shallowly. And I was like worried because it was like rapid. So she ended up having like 19 respirations. And mine was, to put it in context, mine is 12, right?
Oh.
So that's like breaths per minute. Okay. And so at the end, I was like, and the tester person counts at the same time, but not like out loud, right? You're like, have to match. So I said to her at the like after I finished taking her respirations, because you have to like come in, do your intro as if you're like working. And I was like, so your respirations are okay. Are you like a little nervous? Because while it's in the normal range, it is very high. And she was like, my anxiety is so high right now, Lauren. Like, and I was like, okay, phew, okay, good. Then that means I'm probably right. I did it all, and then I passed my written, and we were all there was like 5 of us testing, and we were so scared. But we all passed.
Yay!
So I am done. Although now I have like a taste of nursing, and I'm like, I'm going back. So I'm gonna go do an acute care certification this month, which is like a 3-day thing, because then I can do CNA stuff with like pediatrics, maternity, and surgical.
Nice.
And I think I would love to be a pediatric CNA.
Mm-hmm.
Like I rather wipe kids' poop than grown-ups.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
used to doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
You're like, one of my classmates was so funny. She was like, my cousin said, born to be a princess, forced to wipe shit.
Oh my God. My day list today. Listen to what my day list is.
Okay.
Girl dinner, pink Pilates, princess morning.
Oh my God. That's so cute in you.
Is that not exactly me?
How? Well, there's also a scene in the L Word that we're going to talk about that I literally wrote down. This is Haylie.
I'm really curious. Oh my God.
How was your princess morning?
Oh, my princess morning was so nice. I had a little cute slow morning with my girl and walked to get coffee.
With the puppy?
And no,
Oh.
no puppy right now.
Oh.
Yeah. But oh my gosh, last night I was with my girlfriend last night and I was like, babe, I'm about to burst into tears because you're so beautiful.
Oh, that's so cute.
And she was like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, she probably looked at you like you were crazy.
I'm like, "You're so beautiful right now. I'm gonna cry." And I literally like I started crying. She's
You're
so beautiful.
so cute. You guys are disgusting.
I know. I was like, I couldn't control it. I felt it coming and I was like, "Oh no, I'm in danger. This is not gonna stop. This is about to be a full-blown sobbing."
So, as the person who like kind of got you guys together, do I get to officiate the wedding? Because I actually think I'd be really good at it.
You probably would.
Well, you guys just let me know.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Welcome back everyone to Lesbian Book Club. Now that you have heard all about Haley's princess morning and my anxiety-ridden morning, we watched the 5th episode, and my notes are so long. Ha-
Wow.
but, you know what? It was like a quick episode, I felt like. Um, but I have a lot of notes, and I think that they're really funny. Okay. How did you feel about this episode, Haylie?
Um, I okay, this is not like about the actual content of the episode necessarily,
Okay.
but as somebody in film watching this, I
Uh-huh.
was getting so excited about the editing of it. Like I was thinking about how fun this would be to edit.
Oh, okay. Say more, because there was a point where I was like, oh, Haley's gonna be able to, like, this is more content wise, but there's a point where Haley's gonna be able to like really give us some info with the mom, with Alice's mom, and the auditions and like what all that means. So
Uh-huh.
I thought that'd be really fun. But what do you mean editing wise?
Well, the way that this show is structured is that, there's all these different friends stories that we're following, right? And sometimes they're all together, but a lot of the times they're individual. And the way that the editor chose to put them sequentially in this episode in particular is really interesting because
Oh,
you'll get, especially with Bet's storyline in this particular episode, you'll get
okay.
just like a couple second flash of Bet or of Jenny in the middle of something else that's happening. Like you'll have kind of a longer thing with something else, and then like a couple seconds showing this really high stakes thing that Bet is going through, and then it leaves her again. And
Yeah.
so it's just kind of like in the back of your mind that Bet is having this like really intense day,
Yeah.
and you don't really get to see what's going on until like you all of a sudden get a lot more context at the end. But
Yeah.
um that was so fun because also the places in which they chose to put it, it felt like a little bit random, but it would
Okay.
also it was like a lightning strike, just like bang, here it is, take it back out, which was just so fun to me. I was like,
Oh, I love that. I love
yeah.
that, especially because, again, like, it's your first watch. So this is fun that you're picking up on all these little things. The beginning part where it opened up, what the heck was that about? They didn't even reference that again, did they?
They didn't. So I feel like that's a character introduction that we're going to have to get at like in a later episode, but
It's not, though.
someone no?
No. So yeah, these two women are in bed. There's a knock on the door. One of the women gets up, answers the door, and she's like, obviously, these two women know each other. They're like friends. And the woman at the door is looking for her girlfriend. And she's like really worried about it. And the woman who answered the door, the friend, is like, oh, I'm sure she's fine. You know, she's wild. She knows she's, this is to be expected. She's like, okay, a couple more hours. And then I'm calling the cops because she's like concerned about her girlfriend. And the girl goes back inside and like gets into bed with this topless woman, and it was is like, who was that? And the woman goes, oh, that was your girlfriend. And I'm just like, okay, well, that's super shitty. But also, like, there was no, I'm confused because I remember this opening scene when it came on. I was like, oh, I know
Mhm.
exactly who's who in this. But I was like, but nothing ever came of it.
Interesting.
Weird, right?
Yeah,
Unless I'm like sorely mistaken, but these three women, I do not know. I
their
do not
names
know that
were
man.
Helen. So it was Helen came to the door looking for her girlfriend,
Okay.
and Stacy is the girlfriend,
Right.
and I don't know who the woman is that lives there.
Neither
They
do
didn't give her
I.
name. So I don't know. I guess I'll be paying attention, listening for the names Helen and Stacy. And um, this was not in the United States.
Yes, it was. It was in
Or
like the
no, yeah, this was
village.
in, yeah, this, you're right. This was
It's
in
in New York.
New York. Yeah.
Oh, maybe there's a tie-in. Maybe. The only person I can think that would tie in would be who we talked about last episode would be Helena. Because I think she is in New York. I don't know. But anyway, that was the opening scene. I don't know what it had to do with anything. But let's talk about Dana.
Yes,
This poor
Dana.
little
Dana's so
baby.
naive.
She's so cute. Oh my God. So like there's Dana's story opens with Lara and Dana in bed together. And Dana, we don't know what's happened, but it seems like Dana's really embarrassed. And what I thought was so funny is it's like that play on, oh, it happens to every guy. Don't worry about it. And so you're
Mhm.
like, oh, did Dana like somehow not perform? But when it comes to women, that doesn't make sense. And then I was like, okay, maybe she wasn't able to come. But then I was like, but then Laura was like, dispelled that thought in my head when she was like, no, I had the best time. And like Dana was, I don't know, we were just left with kind of like, we don't know what happened.
Yeah. And then her friends are like, well, did you queef? Like, and she
That
doesn't
was
even know
really
what that
funny.
means. Um, my worst fear is and this is my worst fear because this happened to somebody that I know,
Oh no.
is
Oh, I'll tell you mine after.
is shitting myself.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's way worse than mine.
Yeah, like somebody that I know
Like,
literally pooped on the girl she was having sex with
how do you do
in the
that?
middle. Well, you know how like if something's like inside you and it's just like
Yeah.
putting pressure, I guess like that's what happened.
But then that's like a bad angle. Change your angle. Don't shit.
I don't know, girl. Didn't happen
Oh
to me, but it's my
man.
worst fear. It is
Okay.
actually my worst fear. And I was like, is that what happened to her? That's immediately where my mind went because obviously it's my worst fear. Like that's what happened, but no. Because then Laura's like, it happens to everybody. And I'm like, that does not happen to everybody.
Okay, well, new fear unlocked. Oh my
I
God.
know, right?
I
It literally,
was thinking like if you like are going down on someone and you like sneeze.
that's what they said too. That's what
Or
Alice
like
said.
because I have heard where like someone, I think it was a guy, like blew into this girl's vagina and it like killed her.
What?
I know you're not supposed to like blow air in there. I
Oh
know.
my God.
I'll have to fact check that one, but I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere. So it has to be true, right?
That's
But
so
that's
wild
my
because I
fear.
I thought that Alice was talking about like the person who was receiving sneezed and like something weird happened down there.
No. Well, I mean, I guess it would. No, giving and you just have to sneeze. But I'm like, why wouldn't you just like look away? Don't like sneeze into the vagina.
Oh my
But yeah, the
gosh.
air being blown in, that scares me.
Who knew there were so many things that could go wrong during sex?
Okay, but nothing went wrong with Dana. She just squirted.
Yeah, and then of course her friends were like, Dana, girls try and do that. And Dana's like, what? Which, like, yeah, it's true.
It
Girls
is
try
true,
and do that. And Dana was embarrassed.
which is
Dana, why are we embarrassed?
crazy.
Did she think she was peeing? Like, why was
Well,
what was she
okay,
embarrassed about?
I'm gonna like burst everyone's bubble, but when you squirt, it is pee.
Part of it.
Yes.
It is partially made up of pee.
Okay, but wait, I have to tell you where when Dana didn't know what queefing was, that's the part that I was like, that's Haylie. Not that you don't know what queefing is, not that you don't know what queefing is, but that like sometimes you just like don't know slang or like you don't know what things are, and you will
It's
just like,
true.
you're so cute because you'll just ask. But sometimes you will also just sit there like, and I'll just catch a look where you're like, oh, you don't know what that means. Okay, hold on. Let me just like
Oh
oh,
my gosh. Yeah, I've been rapidly learning new slang in the last 7 months.
right? Wait, we've almost known each other for a year now. Because we
Yeah,
met, didn't we
yeah,
meet in July?
yeah.
Oh, look at us. We're so cute. Little
I know.
1 year friendship. Um, but wait, I know we're doing Dana right now, but can we talk about Alice during this little scene as well?
Yeah.
Okay, because Alice is like swearing off women. She's gonna go back to men. She wants uncomplicated boy girl sex because women are crazy. And Alice is like the quintessential stereotypical bisexual, at least at the very beginning of the show. especially back in this time where she's just like, I'm just gonna switch, blah blah blah. Where nowadays it's like, well, who are you like actually attracted to?
Mhm.
But it's really funny. But then this man enters and she's like, I've seen the most beautiful man I've ever seen in my life. And turns out it's Shane's friend, whose name is Lisa, which
Mhm.
is a male name. It can be a male or a female name. And like Alice is so into this guy, but turns out this guy identifies as a, a lesbian.
Yeah, as a male lesbian.
What did you think about that?
I was like,
It reminded me of Drake
oh my God.
with that stupid lyric. I have my idea of what they were going for with this, but I want to hear what you think.
I think that just based on the way that he was talking, he seemed to be emotionally feminine a
Yes.
little bit. And I think that that's where he was like, oh, well, that makes me a lesbian. But I don't think that that's really a thing. I don't know. I think that okay, if he was a trans man and he started out as a woman identifying as a lesbian and then he was a trans man and he was like, well, it doesn't really like feel right to call myself like a straight man,
Uh-huh.
then he could say that he's a lesbian.
That I totally get.
Yeah,
Because it's
but
lesbian has to do so much more with also like how you're socialized, your view of women, like how you interact with women. Like it has a lot more to do with a lot of those factors, not just I simply like women.
right, yeah. But him as like as far as we know, he's just like a cis man and he just feels like he's gonna be a lesbian because he's emotionally feminine.
Yeah.
That just doesn't really sit right with me because as a man, you can be emotionally feminine.
Yeah, it's
Like,
fine.
yes, own it. That
Yeah.
doesn't make you a lesbian.
Your
What
take
makes
is your take is far less sinister than what I thought they were doing.
what did you think?
So trying to keep in my mind that this is literally like the early 2000s, I thought they were kind of poking fun in the same way that they keep putting Tim and Jenny explicit sex scenes in. I thought that and I've said this before, I think it was to try and broaden the audience of the show. I think that this character, Lisa, was put in there for like the skeptics watching the show. And you know how, like, right now, a lot of people are like, oh, how many genders are there? And how, blah, blah, blah. There's so many things to learn, and you can just identify as an animal or blah, blah, blah. I thought
Mhm.
that's kind of what they were doing with Lisa, was kind of being like poking fun at all of our like categories,
Yeah.
but in a way that was like, I don't want to say it was less harmful. I don't want to say this was harmful, but also like the way it doesn't sit well with you, it definitely did not sit well with me either. And I just like don't like it. But I thought it was more to like poke fun
Mm.
into like a specific group of demographic that might be watching the show. Like mainly like maybe some more conservative people who are watching it as like a gawking experience.
Mhm.
But I don't know. That was just my like initial thought.
I would be really interested to hear from people who were in the writers' room for that episode.
Yeah, because it's weird.
Yeah, I want to know what was going on
Yeah,
when they wrote that.
yeah. But we'll never know.
Nope.
Unless
The
these like
world will never
episodes.
know.
But what if like our little tiny podcast episodes like take off and we actually get on um Shane and Alice's real life podcast? That would be so funny. Then we could be like, we have questions.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, since we're sticking with storylines, we're gonna fast forward a little bit, and we have Dana, Alice, and Shane. Are they just at the planet all day? Like, because Dana's like, well, this is so lesbians. Lara hasn't called me in 21 hours after their first date where they've had sex. I was cracking up. I was like, that's funny.
Yeah.
But also, that is a long time.
Yeah. Did they have cell phones? Yeah, they had cell phones because Bet's always on
Yeah,
hers.
but Bet has like a old, it's like one of the first ones. You know how like all the corporate people got cell phones before like lay people? But
Yeah.
Alice has one, right? But still, texting was like 50 cents a text.
Yeah.
So
Um, so
Lara
maybe
hasn't
she
called.
just like, I don't know, didn't have good access or something. I don't
But
know.
this,
Were the rules of calling different then? Because now I feel like you send like a follow-up like, "Hey, I had a really good time with you," like
right,
an
right.
hour after or something.
Yeah.
But back then, I don't know. I feel like there was a 3-day rule or
Yeah.
something.
Okay. I think we're all thinking that because but that was like a straight thing. That's always in like the rom-coms. I don't think lesbians work that way. At least
Okay.
not in my experience. But I do think like so much of the humor comes from like Alice and Shane and Dana in this episode because what it they were like, Dana, you what happened after that? She's like, I left without saying a word. And Shane's like, from your own apartment? And she's like, yeah. I thought that was so funny.
Oh, Dana, Dana girl. It's
But
okay.
Dana can rest assured that everything's fine because what happens?
Lara shows up with a rose at the planet and they hug, and Alice goes, ugh, ew.
I know. It's such an intimate hug. It's so like they're already so coupley. And I mean, like, that's pretty on point, I feel like.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, is that mostly what happens with all that whole episode with Dana? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, so I love Lara and Dana. I've made that very clear in a lot of these episodes. I think they're so cute. So, yeah, this is just the little start of their whole thing. Yeah,
Poor
Alice.
Alice.
Oh man, poor Alice. And as soon as like I realized that it was the intro to the mom episode, I was like, "Oh god." Like cuz this is a saga. I can't wait for you to see where this goes. It's so funny.
Oh, I could not stand her mom. I talked to too many of Alice's moms in a day.
Yeah, that's what
My
I wanted to
real
talk to you about.
life. Ugh.
Okay, so set us up. Tell us about Alice's mom. Tell us a little bit of the storyline. You could just do like a brief overview and then we can like talk all the fun things.
Yeah, well, Alice's phone goes ring ring. Hello, Alice, it's your mom. I'm in LA. Come see me. What the heck, Mom? You're in LA? Where are you? Oh, I'm at this hotel. I need you to come here. Quick, quick, hurry, please. Oh, God, Mom. Okay, fine, I'm coming. Oh, hi, Alice. You're here. Great, thanks. Well, I need help because the hotel, I can't pay for it. They won't just let me stay here for free. And the director is supposed to be paying for this, but they haven't yet. So I need you to go talk to them. Oh, God. Okay, Mom. I'll see what I can do. Hello, ma'am. Yeah, we can't let her stay here for free anymore because she has an almost $6,000 tab. Oh my God, how does that even happen? Well, you see, ma'am, it's $900 a night. She's been here for 5 nights, plus room service, plus she's making calls. Oh my gosh, Mom, this is terrible. So, are you gonna use cash or card? Ugh. So, that's the start of Alice's mom being in
Do
LA.
you know what you just sounded like?
What?
Olaf in Frozen 2 recounting Frozen 1 for the native tribe in the Enchanted Forest. Two sisters, one special, one not. And oh no, Anna! Death. That's exactly what you sounded like. Yes. So Alice's mom is, we find out, a soap star previously and has this like big giant not attitude, but like persona, right? This big, like, I'm
Yeah.
famous persona. But, and she's supposed to be there because she's supposed to be in an Alan Lichtman film, who I don't know who the hell that is, but whatever. Some hot shot film. But she doesn't end up going to this hot, it's not actually what's happening. She's trying to do open calls, which why would you stay at the Ritz or where, or the Palace or the Plaza or wherever the hell they were. Why would you stay there? Like, who are you trying to impress? Like, is this for yourself? I don't know. But super annoying. And Alice finds out about it, but chooses, didn't she not did she confront her mom?
Not yet.
Yeah. Did she at all?
Not in this episode.
Yeah, I was gonna say Alice chose not to confront her mom, which I feel like as a kid of like it would be humiliating to confront your mom about this for your mom. Even if you're the most understanding, like obviously your mom is like trying to put out this type of demeanor or whatever. I don't know. I kind of like gave Alice props for that.
Yeah, I think she was trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Because I mean, in this moment, she is realizing, okay, my mom does not have this role that she says she's about to have that's going to let her pay back this money I just covered her for.
Yeah.
Um, so now I'm out $6,000. Uh, my mom has no job, no prospects. She's like, here's okay, for people who don't know the way that this industry works. If you're an actor and say you're an established actor like Alice's mom is, she would have an agent and would have people coming to her if she's a celebrity asking her to do roles or to come audition for roles. Um, if she is the celebrity status that she's like going around saying that she is, right?
Right.
She wouldn't be going to open calls as a celebrity. An
Haylie,
open
what's an
call,
open call?
an open call is an audition where basically they put out a notice and say, "Hey, we're doing this film or this project and we are looking for an actor that can play this age range. Here's the character description. Show up. Here's what you should look like," basically.
Okay,
And
so
then,
anyone can come.
yeah, anybody can come. And often at these open calls, because anybody can come and they've just put it out to the public, so many people show up, especially if you're in a place like LA.
Oh
Like
God, I
hundreds
can't
and
even
hundreds of people
imagine.
can come, depending on what it is.
Okay.
Um, but usually when that happens, like everybody shows up and looks exactly the same, like the same exact outfit. And there's been a description of this person in the call, so
Yeah.
everybody shows up and they have like the same hair, the same face, the same build. That like it's really kind of a weird experience.
That reminds me of the Friends episode where Joey goes to like an audition and it's like full of a bunch of Joeys and
Mhm.
he's like trying to find an identical twin for studies for like biological studies. And so he goes to an open audition that sounds like him and he finds someone.
Uh-huh.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so I mean that's what was happening is she's in a room full of grandmas. That really showed Alice that okay, this is a woman that is not who she's pretending to be. Her prospects are not as big and hopeful and promising as she says that they are.
Yeah.
And if you're attending an open call like this, like if you're a beginning actor and a starting actor, that's totally fine. That's how you get your start. But if you're somebody who is supposed to be celebrity status, that's pretty bleak. That was a big awakening for Alice in that moment
Yeah,
to
for
see
sure.
where her mom is actually at.
Yeah, it was really sad when we see the mom get dropped off by Alice. The mom waits for Alice to like leave and then like walks down the street to like the open call. I thought that was really sad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this mom is very, man, I mean, clearly it's a lot of like out
She's a
of
lot.
insecurity and she's kind of like puffing her feathers and whatever, but and she's putting on a show for people, but man, she is self-obsessed and just drove me up the wall this whole episode. And it was really I liked the moment at the end where kind of Jenny's writing and is observing everyone through the backyard and it's
Yeah.
like you see people telling all sorts of lies and this and Alice's mom is like, oh yeah, like I've never had any work done. How old do you think I am? And it's like, oh yeah, clearly you've had work done.
Of course.
And then Shane is like, oh, I don't know, 35, maybe 40. And it's like, yeah, and Shane's lying too. Like,
Shane is like low key hitting on her.
uh-huh.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm excited to hear what you think about that end scene with Jenny when we get
Yeah.
there.
Mhm.
Because I have questions for you as like a first time watcher. So yeah, that's kind of we see Alice and her mom again at the end when there's like a little hangout scene, which I really want to talk about because I have thoughts on it too. But and Alice does come up as a main player in Jenny's story. Let's talk about Jenny.
Let's.
Oh
Yeah,
my
well,
god.
at the beginning, Tim is like, Jenny, why do you look so good? And Jenny's like, oh, I'm just going to the planet to write.
Change of
And Jenny,
scenery.
yeah, Jenny full on has like blue eyeshadow on to go sit at the planet.
Mm-hmm. And like
And
a white t-shirt and like a mini skirt. Like, yeah.
yeah,
She's looking
yeah,
good. She is looking very good. But why, Jenny?
right. And then Tim's like, oh, I'll go with you. And Jenny's like, ah,
I
shit.
know. It's so palpable. I have a problem. So, okay, so they go to the planet and
Mhm,
Jenny is just staring at Marina the
mhm,
whole time. And I don't understand the writing at this part because for the past 4-ish episodes, the things that Jenny has been saying about Marina to Tim, like, I don't understand why Tim isn't like, why do you want to go to the planet? You don't even like Marina anymore. Like, I don't understand why he's not suspicious.
right. I don't know either. If my partner was staring at somebody, I would notice immediately.
Yeah, and I think that's like plays into like he's a cis straight white man and they don't notice shit. You know what I mean? But I still feel like you got to give him a little more credit. But he is like trying to come up. He's working. So maybe that's why. I don't know. I would notice.
There's just like really strong energy around like staring at somebody.
Yeah. And I do think that this is like a pivotal experience that Jenny has because I think because she follows Marina into the bathroom and they like start fucking in the bathroom.
Hmm.
And I think it's a pivotal point because now Jenny is like actively choosing this cheating scenario. She's
Yeah.
actively choosing, she's going to where Marina is, she's following Marina, she's actively engaging in this. And now I have a problem with it. Like, because last episode I was like, yes, it's cheating, but it's like a little different when it comes to like figuring out your sexuality. Do I think it's right? No. Do I understand? Yes. This, though, is like a calculated, I am going to cheat.
Mm.
And that to me is a problem.
Also, she's doing it like with Tim right there,
Right
which is
there.
even more screwed up.
That's like evil. That's
Yeah.
so evil. She like doesn't give a fuck.
No. Like in her mind, she's like, "Oh yeah, well as long as Tim doesn't find out, like it's totally fine. I'm not hurting him." But it's not.
No,
It's
that's not
horrible.
okay.
It's
That's not,
actually horrible.
it's so bad.
Oh my God. Also, they go into the bathroom, her and Marina, and I'm like, oh, they go in there because the girls' bathroom, obviously, Tim can't go in there. And then
Right?
Tim walks in and she's like, oh, I hate these unisex bathrooms. I'm like,
Why would you do that?
idiots.
Yes.
You idiots. You choose a unisex bathroom while your fiance is there that you're cheating on to
When
go fuck in the bathroom. Like, you couldn't get stupider. Like,
when
you're
Marina has a whole ass office with a lock on the door. I'm sure.
literally, like, you're going to go do a bad thing that you're not supposed to be doing, and you're also going to be stupid.
And she had to have known even lesbian like quick hookups. They take a minute. Like it's not like
A long time.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Because like what you see is Tim looks at his watch and goes looking for Jenny.
Hmm.
Like that means it was definitely more than like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
understand.
because he was like, Jenny, are you okay? When he was in
Right.
there. And also she was so suspicious. She's like, "Yep, yeah, I'm totally fine." And then like
Comes out immediate.
crawls out of the door, like trying to keep it shut. And then she's like, "Oh, I hate these unisex bathrooms. Like you really scared me." And he's like, "Okay, well, try and like not scare you while I pee." And luckily goes in the other stall.
Oh my God. I was so scared. But also, ew. I wrote ew in my notes because she comes out of the stall and he kisses her. And I was like, ew, she's just been like making out with someone else. But this is obviously like on par with Jenny, who like comes home and then will like fuck her boyfriend after fucking Marina. So, which, ugh, it was gross. Yeah, luckily he did go in the second stall, which like doesn't make sense to me unless maybe he thought she was having like diarrhea and he didn't want to go in that stall.
Oh,
um, but like Marina's trapped in the stall and they just like stand there and listen to him pee.
yeah.
Gross.
Weird vibes.
So weird. Um, but then the next thing that happens in their little storyline is Jenny gets a call from what we later find out is her previous teacher slash writing mentor. His name is Nick. And immediately you can tell that Tim does not like this guy. And Tim is just like always wrong. He's always suspicious about the wrong things, which is so funny to me. Like he really is so dumb. But it's not his fault either because he has no inkling that his wife is in, or his future wife is like in any way queer. So it's like not his fault, but also he is dumb.
Yeah, well, also though, it is fair for him to be uncomfortable about this guy, considering this is a former professor that she gave a blowjob to, which,
True.
like, okay, there are certain circumstances where I think it's fine and fair for people to be friends with their exes or like past situationships and whatever. In this situation, this feels so weird to me because as a professor,
Mm-hmm.
why are you getting blowjobs from your students if like there's no reason unless you're just a sleazebag?
Jenny says that though. Jenny basically says he is a sleazebag. He fucks his students and he's terrible, but I'm not like into it anymore. You know, he's just
Right.
my mentor. But I do get Tim's hesitation.
Right. But then why is Jenny keeping a sleazebag around in her life?
I know. Because he helps her with her writing. I don't know.
Find someone else, girl, to
I
help you with your
know.
writing.
But she
Don't keep
comes
a
from like
sleazebag around.
okay, but to be fair, she comes from a small town. I don't know where that she went to college or where this professor was from. She doesn't know anyone else. So I understand her keeping him as a mentor, especially if she's like cut that off. And it's obviously been years since it happened because she's been with Tim. So I'm definitely not defending him. I'm just saying, like, I get both sides,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, here's my message to all you young people out there listening. Get the sleazebags out of your life. There are so many other mentors available out there that are not sleazebags. And listen up, um, to all of you mentors out there. If you're a sleazebag, get your mind right and stop being a fucking sleazebag.
Stop
What are
it.
you doing? What are you doing? Get your shit together now. Thank you.
They never
Bye.
will. Thank you for that PSA.
Yeah, fired up.
Yeah, it's really disgusting.
Yeah. Anyway.
Um anyway, Jenny can like sense Tim's uneasiness about this and is like it cuts to like a different time and there is this when they're watching the slalom. Jenny's like trying to fuck Tim again, but he's like because she like senses his uncomfortableness and sex really is the way that Jenny proves like her loyalty
Yeah.
to Tim, which is like we could talk that could be a whole episode, but like she really does try and use it as like reassurance for him. And I thought this was really an interesting sex scene. I wrote dead sex eyes. Tim
Yeah.
notices, and she's literally thinking of Marina during
Yeah.
this. This is what I
It's,
say about this being like such a pivotal point.
yeah. It was because she has like a centimeter of emotional bandwidth for Tim.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
so,
he doesn't do it for her anymore, like
mm-mm.
at all.
No, so she like literally there's no she has nothing emotionally to give him.
Right.
And so she always just turns to sex to be like, "Oh, everything's fine." She's
Yeah.
literally trying to prove to him that everything's fine when everything is not fine. And I feel like she can't convincingly lie to him verbally,
Yeah.
and so she has to just use physicality.
Yeah, I think you're right because she's not a good liar.
Mm-mm.
Like she's just really not like she's all dressed up and he's like, "What are you dressed up for?" "Oh, I'm just going to the planet." Like, yeah, she's not a good liar. I think you're absolutely spot on with that. And he is now noticing.
Yeah.
And he thinks that this has to do with Nick when
Mm-mm.
really like she's thinking of Marina on top of her instead of Tim.
Yeah, and he's totally spiraling, and it's now
Oh yeah.
affecting his job and like his relationships with his athletes and his coaches.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us
Um,
about that?
yeah, at practice, he's just been like really intense lately. And at practice, his star swimmer shows up late. She comes running in. She's like, "I'm so sorry. I had to retake that physics test. It was the only time that my professor would let me do it. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
here." And he's like, "What? You think you can just make your own schedule? All these other girls are already in the water. Get out."
He's
And
so harsh. He's such a dick.
yeah, and she's just like, "Oh my God, okay." And like turns around to leave. And the other coach is like, "What? Like, Tim, what are you doing? Go get her. Get in the Go get her and tell her to get in the water. What is wrong with you?"
Yeah, I think they needed this interaction to then have the later interaction between the assistant coach and Tim, which I thought was so disgusting, that interaction. But yeah, Tim is like absolutely spiraling. And then like the assistant coach and Tim have like this gross heart to heart where the assistant coach basically tells him because Tim tells him that Jenny's going to go and meet with Nick. And the assistant coach, who I'm sorry, I don't know his name, but he is like, well, that might have been fine before you put a ring on it, but now you have to put your foot down and you can't let her do that. And I'm just like, ew, because that really is the thought process that a lot of men have.
Mm-hmm.
Not all men, but a lot of men. And that is gross. Like, you don't get to control her just because you asked her to marry you.
Right.
What did you think about that combo?
Yeah, that was gross. And Tim was like, "Yeah, I'm not into that like caveman thinking."
Which good.
Yeah. But I think that what the assistant coach did is he named it out loud for Tim that Tim is questioning if he's able to trust Jenny.
Yeah.
And while it isn't actually about the professor, even though Tim and the assistant coach don't know that,
Right.
Jenny isn't trustworthy.
He's picking
And
up on something.
exactly, Tim has picked up on that. So, um, while Tim hasn't been able to really admit that to himself, but he can feel it and he is being affected by that, and his life is it's having like a wave effect across his
Yeah.
life. Yeah, so that really, I think, set in motion what happens next. And that is that Tim goes on the search for Jenny because he gets
Again.
home.
So he go,
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I'm just putting together is he searches for Jenny 3 times this episode. I just realized that they did that like very thematically and I really like it.
Hmm.
Okay, continue. He goes searching for Jenny, but
Yeah,
Nick and Jenny meet for their dinner. And the sum of that is like he hates her story. He doesn't think it has any edge because she's like talking about commitment and how great it is. And he's like, that's not you. That's so weird for you to write. Like, it's not good. Your writing's not good.
yeah,
And she confides in Nick about Marina.
yeah. Which, okay, also this dinner, the setting was so sexy. The restaurant, they were sitting so close to each other, they were touching each other the entire time. And her voice changed. Her voice was not the same voice that she uses with everybody else. She was trying to talk sexy. They're touching each other. They're sitting so close. They're drinking red wine. The lights are dimmed. So I'm like, okay, this was actually so fair for Tim to feel weird about this. And she's like, of course I value your opinion. You're the most genius editor I've ever had.
I
Like, girl, stop with that. This is
know.
not respectful.
No, it's not respectful for relationship, but something with Jenny is I feel like she doesn't have a very good, sorry, I'm like burping because of my Diet Coke. The thing with Jenny is she doesn't really have any type of formed self-identity. And I think she becomes the person she's with. I had a friend in college, a guy friend, who did this. He would act so different depending on the group we were in, and he was acting like the person who he valued their opinion the most. So like with Jenny, or Jenny with Nick is acting like Nick, that sultry, kind of pervy, sexy vibe, right? With
Yeah.
Tim, she's very sweet and like soft spoken and kind and everything, right? And then when she's with Marina, I think is when she has the most formed sense of self. But even in that, she doesn't, right? Like she's always the one who's being pursued with Marina. Now we see her start to pursue Marina, but that's what I'm saying is she is only really starting to understand herself moving
Right.
forward. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I did think that Nick's feedback about her writing was very astute, though, about
Yeah.
commitment not being her thing. And I did like his note about like you have to dig deeper than that, and the thing that makes your writing so good is like the most raw, real emotion and feeling and what's really happening. Like when you
Right.
write something and no matter if it's how you want the world to perceive you and what you want to present yourself as to
Yeah.
the world, like for her it was that like, oh, true